Okay, so in the last video of the $99 reel shootout, at the end there I let you guys decide and vote in the comment section on which lure you guys wanted to see next. And the two options were the big top water bait or the 1/8 ounce little Rapala minnow. So when I counted up the votes, it actually came out to be a tie. And some of you guys tried to vote more than once and fool me, but you didn't get me. So since it was a tie, I'm going to pick the Rapala minnow, and mainly because I can't locate the top water rod right now. So tomorrow I'm going to be going out on the field and throwing this 1/8 ounce top water minnow, and it's a true 1/8 ounce that we already weighed. Now I think it's going to be a painful process because these are some heavy spools that hold a lot of line, and the line I'm going to be using is this 6-pound Crappie Max, and luckily there's 2,040 yards on this spool, so that should be able to fill all these reels up. So I'm not looking forward to this test because I think it's going to be a day of backlashes, but I'm also looking forward to see if these reels can handle this lure and throw it a respectable distance. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spool these reels up, and I'm going to get a weight on the spools filled with line. Okay, so as you can see, we have spooled up all the reels with the 6-pound mono, and I'm going to pull the scale out and weigh the spools. Okay, so we got all the spools pulled out, and let's get weights on these things filled with line. Okay, first up is the Accurus PT. So the Accurus PT full of 6-pound mono, you're looking at the 32.7 gram spool. Now the CASITAS, you're looking at a 25.4 gram spool. Now the Origin C, you are looking at a 29.8 gram spool. The Speed Spool LFS, you're looking at a 30.7 gram spool. The Fuego, you're looking at a 27.4 gram spool. And last but not least, the REVO X, you are looking at a 29.8 gram spool. So just to refresh your memory, this lure here weighs in at 3.5 grams, so 1/8 of an ounce. And these reels, in order to score points in the standardized testing, have to throw this lure at least 60 feet. So just for reference, this is the spool of an ALDEBARAN BFS XG. This one right here. This is filled with, I believe, 6-pound fluorocarbon. And full of line, this thing weighs only 10.9 grams, or almost 11 grams on the dot. So some of these spools are almost triple the weight of this specialized bait finesse reel spool. So I foresee a struggle for a lot of these reels, if not all of them. But I'm gonna get them out on the field tomorrow and do my best. Hopefully I won't blow up these reels too much to the point where I can't pick the backlash out. But let's see what happens. Okay, so I'm out here with the Shimano CASITAS. I have 2 brakes on inside, external dial set to 2, and spool tension is set to a pretty slow fall. So here we go. Okay, 75 feet, 10 inches. Mm. 70 feet, 7 inches. Ah. 73 feet, 4 inches. "72 feet, 4 inches. "72 feet, 11 inches. Okay, next up is the LEWS speed spool. I have the spool tension set to a relatively slow fall and the external brakes are set to here, whatever that is. So here we go. "64 feet, 1 inch. "67, 9 inches. Ah. 64 feet, 2 inches. Ah. 65 feet, 2 inches. "65 feet even." Okay, we have the Quantum Accurst PT. We have the inside brakes set at 5 and the external magnet brake set looks to be 7 or 8. And the spool tension is set for a pretty slow fall. So here we go. Uh, 60 feet, 10 inches. Uh, 56 feet, 3 inches. "62 feet, 2 inches. "63 feet, 9 inches. "61 feet, 11 inches. Okay, so we have the 1-3 Origin C. We have really tight spool tension. The minnow hardly even falls. And inside we have the brakes turned to 5. So here we go. "66 feet even. "62 feet, 9 inches. "62 feet, 10 inches. "64 feet, 8 inches. 62 feet 2 inches. So we have the Abu Garcia REVO X. We have spool tension set for a pretty slow fall, and the external brakes are set to there. So here we go. "63 feet 2 inches. "59 feet 7 inches. "56 feet 4 inches. "59 feet 1 inch. "55 feet 8 inches. Okay, so last but not least, we have the Fuego CT. Spool tension is set to medium fall, and the mag force dial is set to, looks like 13. So here we go. "60 feet 3 inches. "63 feet 9 inches. "62 feet 7 inches. "60 feet even. "60 feet 8 inches. Okay, so I am back from the casting field, and wow, it took 4 hours. And most of that was picking out backlashes, pre-measuring casts, adjusting brakes, and I got really dehydrated, but finally, after 4 hours, I got it done. Now let's go over some notes here. Now the first thing I want to say is, I'm pretty surprised at how well all these reels did in throwing this really light lure. Now the first thing I wanted to go over was the Fuego and the Accurist. These two were the only reels where the line actually went through between the spool and the frame, causing really bad tangles to where I had to pull line off and recast with less line. Now the Fuego, it didn't affect so much because it was only one cast, but as you can see, some of this line, a lot of line, I'd probably say at least 20 yards, 20 to 30 yards I had to pull off. But it made the spool a little lighter, and I was actually able to back the brakes down a couple of clicks for that last cast. Now the CASITAS surprised me in the fact that I was able to go down to 2 brakes internally, and I thought it was going to have to be 4 brakes and a lot of external dial, but no, I was able to go down to 2. Now the REVO X, it really helped that the spool tension has a clicker. That way I knew, that I was actually making a difference in the spool tension adjustments for this reel. The 1.3 Origin C. This thing really needs some kind of a fine tuning for its brakes. The spool bearings spin up really fast. As we all know, these have upgraded high spin Japanese bearings, And you can tell that even with this small lure, that this spool was starting up really fast and spinning really free. So I had to turn the brakes up really high inside, 5 or 6, and give it pretty tight spool tension, as usual. So it could have did better. I think it would have gained a few more feet if you were able to fine tune those brakes. And as far as the LEWS, nothing bad to say there. Just really easy to set up. So let's go over the results. Okay, coming in last place is the GARCIA REVO X. And it averaged 58.8 feet. So it gets a negative 1.2 points. Okay, coming in 5th place is the Accurist PT. It averaged 61 feet, so it gets 1 point. Now, I thought this reel would come in last, to be honest, because it's got the biggest diameter spool and the heaviest spool here by far. It holds quite a bit of line, but because the brakes are so adjustable, I was able to fine tune them to the best of my ability, and it comes in 5th place. Okay, here's kind of a surprise here. The FUEGO comes in at 4th place with 61.6 feet, so it gets 1.6 points. 3rd place goes to the Origin C. Now, once again, I think it could have been done a lot better if there was some kind of fine-tuning or just more adjustable brakes. But it averaged 63.8 feet, so it gets 3.8 points. Okay, surprise 2nd place here goes to the Speed Spool LFS. And it did a very good 65.4 feet average, so it gets 5.4 points. Okay, and once again, and it comes as no surprise, the SHIMANO CASITAS comes in 1st place with a whopping 73 foot average, so it gets 13 points for this test. Okay, so what can we take away from this test? Now, the first thing I want to say is that I think a lot of bait casters, at least general purpose ones, can throw really light lures if you have the right rod and are using the right line. Now, if you are the kind of guy that only has one reel, then if you get a rod that can handle light lures, you can see that these reels can throw these lures roughly 20 yards or so. So if you're fishing a small river or creek or stream or whatever, then if it's only 20 yards or 30 yards, then you can definitely fish that. Now, I will say that it's not going to be very fun because you will have to adjust your cast and your release point and your trajectory, especially going against a specialized bait finesse reel. It's not going to be a totally pleasurable experience, but it can be done. And one thing that I would also recommend is that since you're using a really light line, I would say fill the spool not even halfway. This is 6-pound line, and I would say each reel here at least holds over 150 yards of this 6-pound. And you really don't need that much. So that's another tip here. If you don't fill your spool all the way, not even halfway, you will cut down so much weight off that spool, and it'll definitely perform better, cast easier, and less backlash. So there we go. Thanks a lot, guys.